What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a blessed and awesome day. I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about things that pop up in my head while I'm working out, and things that kind of resonate, things that what I'm consuming, and I want to go ahead and give to you guys. I was listening to Eric Thomas, and Eric Thomas talked about time and money, how you're treating uh, your money is a reflection of how you treat your time. And people are just willy-nilly with their money, and they're also doing the same correlation with their time. And when you are investing in your money, you're investing in your time. Think about that, because time is an investment, because we're never going to get more of it. Money and time, they're completely different. Yes, you can get more of money, but you cannot get more of time. Time is a finite amount that you're given. You're only given a certain amount of time in this world, and as you get older and older, that time limit as starts getting slower and slower, smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually time runs out. It's like the sands of the hourglass and the days of our lives. When you flip that thing and you kind of see the sand going in, you start seeing that time is running out. And I firmly believe in that. I firmly believe that time is running out. If there's things that you want to accomplish in your life, go for it. If there's things that are you feel like that are preventing you, then you overcome that obstacle. And I know a lot of those obstacles are self-imposed obstacles that are in your mind, of your belief system. I'm not good enough. I'm this, I'm that. And the only thing I'm going to tell you is that the three powerful words that you can use in your life is the I am. And whatever follows the I am, that's what you're believing in. And if you go with I am tired, I am sure, I am not this or that, it puts a limit on you. And whereas if you eliminate those limitations in your life, I am happy, I am strong, I am healthy, I'm abundant, it puts out a different energy. So that's what I want to leave with you guys, is about the energy that you're putting out and how you're using that time in your life. Because, like I said, it's just getting shorter and shorter and shorter as you get older. You start realizing, hey, time is flying. And in reality, it's your perception, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's how we're utilizing that time and utilizing it to what we want out of life. I know that we might be in jobs that in this job, it's like, oh, I gotta go to work. But yet you still have that free time afterwards, after work. What are you doing with that? Are you scrolling on social media? Are you binge watching? What are you doing? Because everything starts with being consistent. If you want something, you got to be consistent at it. You're not going to get it overnight. You work at it slowly but surely, you're gonna get that. There's this one lady that I met a couple years ago, and we put her on our podcast. That when I had a podcast with two other individuals, that she was talking about how she overcame her weight. Was she was over 400 pounds, and the last I saw, she was like 160, I think. And the thing there is, because of methodically, she said to herself, enough's enough, and she needs to be a good role model for her child. And so she ended up went on a program. She started cutting out weight. She did some keto. She ended up working out, and did it happen overnight? No, it didn't happen overnight. But every single thing is a small little step. It's just like when you are walking, running. When you were a little baby, you were making one step after another step. You were falling, you down, you were crawling, you're doing whatever. Just imagine if your parents said, oh, nope, kid keeps on falling down. I guess walking is not in for my kid. No, your parents were pushing you. They were helping you, they were exciting you, and they made it into a game, probably, where dangling something in front of you to go ahead and start making one step after another step, and they were so excited. And yet that same energy is contagious, and you felt it as a kid too at that time, but you don't remember, but you wanted to do more. And it's the same thing about whatever goals and dreams that you want in life, is that when you have somebody that's cheering for you, somebody in your background that's supporting you and saying, you got this, you're going to be pushing harder. And yet, if you do not have anybody, that's when you look yourself in the mirror, because the biggest critic is going to be the person in the mirror, that you can go ahead and talk to yourself in the mirror and saying, you got this, buddy. You know, you worked hard. You and whatever outcome happens, that you are happy because you appreciate. And that comes right down to the next phase that I want to talk about, is about appreciation. You know, we have these expectations in life, but just have an appreciation that you appreciate these things in your life. You appreciate the people going through an effort. And I can only tell you is that when somebody does something for you, appreciate it. You know, a common courtesy of saying, thank you. I appreciate what you did. You really made my day. And that person's going to never stop doing that, what they just did. Now, when you have a person who doesn't, you have this expectation like, oh, wow, look at this. You know, this person does this for me. Look at me. I'm so special. Well, you know, I'm just going to say, look, you're not special at all. You know, realizing that when you're putting out that energy, that person's going to go ahead and just say, no, I'm not going to be putting in my effort, not going to put in my time, because I don't feel appreciated. And that's what happens with a lot of relationships. And because there is the lack of appreciation, because we have an expectation. Oh, I expect this person to do this for me, or I expect that. I'm seeing so many people feel entitled in this day and age that it's just so sickening, where we need to go back to having appreciation, because when you don't have things in your life and you finally get things, you start realizing like, hey, I really appreciate everything that's given to me, you know, whether it's the small little things about time. Because when you got your life taken up from you, say for example, you're dealing with an illness and you were so inundated with that illness that you barely got out of bed, and now you're like, every step is so deliberate and it's so intentional, and you're intentional with your time, and you're realizing, saying thank you, and you appreciate the people that were in your corner when you're dealing with these difficulties in your life. And you remember that, you know, in this day and age with social media, where they are just going ahead and just putting in, you're only seeing the negative stuff because it's by design, my friends. Just letting you know, they're doing that by design because they want to make you divided. They want to have that hatred towards each other, probably. But what it is they know that the anger, the frustrations, and all that type of stuff gets more attraction than you being positive and you have a good outlook in life, because people don't really resonate with that, because we're naturally negative people. And once we deprogram that stuff out, and you have this positive outlook in life, you don't want to be seeing any of that type of stuff. And I know plenty of people do not want to partake in social media, don't want to partake in watching the news, because it's all negative doom and gloom, instead of it being like, hey, you know what, let's appreciate life, and let's just live it to the abundance that we possibly can, because everything is given to us. When, you know, look at it, taking in this air, you know, this is free air right here, you know, and then as well as, you know, the water that we're drinking, everything is provided to us by God. So you guys have you guys have an awesome day. Be about it instead of talking about it, and namaste, my friends.